afternoon, good evening. Hey everyone, it is our Sunday weekly warm up. My name is Ray Hewart. Brad Hughes is in the house, and this is like our favorite show. This is our favorite time of the week when we get to come live here in our Sunday show here in our exclusive Facebook group. I haven't been here the last few weeks. So, Brad, I appreciate you letting me come on the show today. I know you've been doing these like epic interviews and all this fun stuff, and I'm just honored that I get to join you again. So everyone go grab like your adult beverage, put your feet up, relax, tell us in the comments where you're watching from, and we'll be right back. Happy Sunday. Good to see you all in the comments. Brad Hughes, it's Sunday.
Reunited, Ray Hewart, and it feels so good. It's Sunday Weekly Warm-Up streaming exclusively in the Teach Better private Facebook group. And as you know, Ray, it's going to be everywhere on the socials come tomorrow at the same time. And is it true? Can it be true that this will be rebroadcast as an episode of Teach Better Talk?
I can't believe it, but it is true. And that means that we put out 7 episodes a week over on Teach Better Talk podcast. So in case many of you have podcasts that you wish put out more content, don't worry. You have Teach Better Talk every single day. You have at least a 20-minute episode, if not a 45-minute episode every single day. Crazy.
You can always count on Teach Better team to entertain, inspire, inform every aspect of your week, and a few shenanigans thrown in to boot.
I love good shenanigans. As you're jumping in now, feel free to tag your friends, tell them that we're getting started. Dustin, it's really good to see you there. Mm-hmm. So glad that you are able to pop in. Brad, I have been in the comments the last few weeks, loving the show. Thank you for allowing me to come back. I really appreciate it.
It really is my pleasure to allow you to come back. My co-host with the most on the Lake Michigan coast or Lake Michigan coast adjacent. It's wonderful to get back together. I've been looking forward to catching up. How are you? And how's everything been?
Yeah, things have been good. I'm trying to think of why I haven't been here. There was one week when I had a family emergency. The next week, I think I was traveling for Teach Better stuff. So I'm so sorry that I've been kind of MIA, but I really have been watching. I really love my Brad time. And so if I'm not on screen with you, I'm usually watching, just thinking that I am still on screen, getting to have a conversation with you. How have you been?
It's been great. I've missed you the past few weeks. I've been delighted to connect here on the Sunday Weekly Warm-Up with guests. We had Joshua Stamper join us. We had a wonderful guest host, Brianne Fennell was with me for Team Up, and we missed you. And I want to know how your time in LA was.
Oh, it's so fun. I've been able to do a few fun little trips. Actually, I was in LA, and that's what took me out a few weeks ago. Recently, I was just in Ohio. I just got back from that. So I don't feel like I do a lot of travel for the Teach Better team. That's really not my job typically, but for whatever reason, and I thought it was because Katie was on maternity leave, but now it looks like this is just the new normal. I'm traveling like 2 or 3 times a month. And I'm really liking it. Like, I want to complain. It takes me away from the family. But Brad, I kind of have a good setup where when I leave, things are taken care of and I have peace of mind there. And I'm traveling to like, I don't know, not necessarily locations that everyone's like has on their bucket list, but schools that y'all should have on your bucket list. Like my most recent trip, not the one to LA, but even just to Talmadge, which was in Ohio.
Right.
Oh my God. I wish that I was there all day and then some. I had a co-presenter, which was a therapy dog, Miss Molly. So it was a ball, and I got to see some of our Teach Better family members. It was so fun.
You know, that's what it's all about. I mean, the restorative aspect of travel that you're, communicating when you are traveling to and from with different reels and different check-ins. I mean, you are actively engaging our Teach Better family every moment that you're on the road. And then you get a chance to visit schools, visit teachers and educators, have time to connect with kids, and really see the work that you put your heart and soul into come to fruition, and share the joy, share the excitement, share the love with other Teach Better family members. It doesn't sound like it gets any better than that.
Yeah, it's really, I'm very fortunate. And I know that work travel is taxing on so many people. It's not necessarily what I think I'll ever do 5 days a week, but I've just had so much fun traveling and seeing our people in real life. And thank God that I have the opportunity to do that. But one of the funny things, Brad, we were talking about before we came live this evening was doodling on the plane. I'm telling you, that was all sparked because I didn't have Wi-Fi. And so usually I work on the plane, but I didn't have any Wi-Fi on the plane ride that I was just on earlier this week. So I just started doodling, and now who knows, that sparked a new hobby again. So I love that different environments inspire different things in us.
Teach Better fam, I don't know if you've checked out Ray Hewart's doodles on, and they're captivating. They're captivating. They're my new favorite thing. So if you have a chance, check out Ray on Facebook or on Insta. Where can people find these doodles? I saw them on Insta, I think.
Yeah, I'm guys, I'm literally just doodling. This is not like a real thing, but I just want you to know that I'm doodling random cartoons. So if any of you have ideas, I really, really need you to respond back and like direct message me your ideas. I've done a diner. I've done a Subway. I just finished up. I did like a little cafe, and I'm really just posting them on Instagram. Every so often I'll throw a few on Facebook, but I appreciate it, Brad. Sometimes it's fun to pick up new hobbies. I definitely have a few this year, and art is one of them. So I'm blending in my watercolor love with some, I don't know, cartoon doodles.
Well, you also put something along with your story that reminds us that these hobbies, I mean, these things that enrich us, and what we kind of follow our passion, follow our interest, not knowing where it's going to go. But talk about an enriching opportunity. I'd love it if you are joining us live in our comments. Let us know what your hobby or hobbies might be, or what are you just scratching the surface on? What's got your interest, and what would you like to get started on? Maybe it's something athletic, like I don't know, pickleball or badminton or bowling, or maybe it's carpentry, woodwork, maybe it's visual arts, maybe it's music or dance. Maybe it's something you're trying brand new for the first time. Let us know what that might be. I'd love to get excited along with everyone watching and listening about what our hobbies are.
Really, that would be so good. And honestly, Brad, it will be the weirdest story I tell later in life. But I was doodling on the plane, and the guy next to me started like leaning over and being like, "What if you added this? What about this?" So in the end, I actually took a picture of the doodle and emailed it to him because I felt like we had done it together.
It's so connective, isn't it? I mean, you're side by side with someone on a plane, and you're kind of passing the time together. Ray, I think you give off like a let's connect vibes. I mean, you're easy to talk to, and I mean, you've got something going in front of you. Your doodles. I'm glad that this sparked a conversation between you and your seatmate, and who knows.
And isn't that kind of fun? Oh, so
Yeah.
Brad, full transparency, I was doodling, and then they turned the lights off, and I was like, okay, so I'm not going to be the weirdo that like turns the light above me on, because that makes everyone unable to sleep. So I was just using my phone, and then my pen ran out of ink. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm done doodling. And the guy next to me hands me his pen and starts to give me suggestions. The joke was, we're on a plane. It's very loud in terms of just like the engine, right? It's just a loud environment on a plane. And he didn't speak English. So the two of us are like miming to each other in the dark, like what we're going to put in this cartoon. And Brad, you should have been there. It was a really good bonding experience. So if any of you have the opportunity to mime with anyone recently, it's just kind of fun.
I think I know what's going to go in your Teach Better stocking come holiday time. I'm going to visit one of our mountain co-op stores and get you one of those little headlamps. And so, when all the lights go off in the plane, you can, discreetly put on your Teach Better green headlamp, and you can doodle, read. And you've been writing. You're making amazing use of this travel time, just with all of the creative things coming in.
Got to find something to do. So friends, if you have ways that you use your downtime that you want to share with us, we always love good ideas, and I'm happy to share the random things. But Brad, I really do appreciate that you're following that stuff, because as a creative mind yourself, when you say anything I do artwork wise is good, I'm always like blushing because you're so artistic. I mean, everything you're doing with your woodworking on the side and everything else, I am just so inspired by you, Brad. So I'm just like over here gonna I'm going to just, glow in the compliment you gave me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, amazing. I'm cheering you on every step of the way. I mean, when we find people who are creatively aligned, and when I find a dear friend who is, has an emerging gift, and you're devoting time to it, I just absolutely want to cheer you and everybody on that's finding and making that time for their creative side. It's so important to stay connected with that creative side if you can.
So how are you using your creative side, Brad? I know you have been busy, obviously, working in schools full time, but give us an update. How's the last week or so been? I know we had the Super Bowl in between, so we actually haven't seen this community in quite some time.
Exactly. We took Super Bowl Sunday off for the big game, and I hope that was a successful, however you chose to celebrate the Super Bowl at your place. I hope it was successful. And this has been a great week at work and a great weekend here in Southern Ontario. Friday night, we had a movie date out. We saw Madam Web, the new Marvel movie.
Ooh, yep. With Dakota Johnson. I love her.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. This afternoon, I was with a couple of buddies, and we went to see a hockey game here in Kitchener. Kitchener Rangers walked away with a 6-1 win in the OHL, Ontario Hockey League. It was a great game, a great afternoon out. And this weekend, I'm working on another sign commission, and that I just love it. I love partnering. Lately, I've been partnering with a lot of great podcasters and authors, and my work has sort of taken a little bit of a business bent, which is unexpected but very welcome. And yeah, I've got a commission from a couple of friends of the Teach Better family who I'm going to be sharing out more about this. But I'm very excited to be partnering with this award-winning duo for a special sign for their own studio. So I'll be sprinkling the Instagram and the Facebook accounts and keeping in touch with you about how this is progressing. But got to start on this weekend. Exciting.
I love the signs. Again, we're just going to pitch all these things. If any of you are not following Brad's incredible artwork that he's doing on the side, it's no longer something that's just like, oh, Brad has a cool hobby, but Brad is really doing fabulous things. Every time a new picture pops up of a design, I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see which one's it's for, and reading the story. So I appreciate that you are willing to share out the work you're doing, and you're using social media to celebrate those pieces, because I always love to scroll through and like them and share them out. So it's super fun.
Well, I really appreciate that. Most recently, I partnered with Alfonso Mendoza from My EdTech Life, and he gave me the opportunity to create 3 signs, bringing to life his original podcast and publishing artwork. And then he gave me the gift of creating reveal, unboxing reels. Reels are not something I'm adept with yet, but I mean, the gift that he gave was that he got me he was excited enough to create an unboxing reel for the signs that I sent to him, and offered to, share them out to my followers as well. So it's all about the connections. I mean, think about your connection on the plane with your doodles, and the connections that I'm making with different clients. And it really all just begins with a story and finding out how I can help the client, the contact, bring their vision, their message, whatever it is, to life.
So fun. Friends, we've been talking a lot this afternoon in this conversation around hobbies and how you're using your downtime. If you've missed this conversation, feel free to rewatch this after the show, but it was full of ideas of ways for you to make sure that you're not only doing things that make you feel good, but using them to connect with others and really fuel your fire as you continue to move throughout your day. Brad, we have a little bit of a fun activity we're going to be doing, which involves 40 statements. And I'm not sure if any of you remember us doing this previously, but this is a new and improved version. We'll be right back. friends, thanks for sticking with us. We are excited to continue to celebrate a Sunday with you to get rid of those Sunday scaries. And whether you are heading into a full week ahead, or maybe you have a 4-day week because there are some holidays that many people are celebrating, we have some fun in store for you. Brad, first and foremost, it is a holiday tomorrow for many schools in the U.S., but it is also a holiday in Canada. Do you mind telling us a little bit about what holiday you'll be celebrating tomorrow?
Of course, Ray. Tomorrow in Ontario is Family Day, a day set aside for, you guessed it, family, for you to connect with the people that mean the most to you, whether it's your given family or your chosen family, whoever it might be. It's an opportunity for caregivers, parents, and kids and their families to just reconnect and spend time with one another. And so it is a holiday. There are other holidays occurring in different provinces for different reasons, but that's what's happening in Ontario. What's happening in Chicagoland?
Yeah, I love it. The U.S. is celebrating President's Day tomorrow, which more often than not is a day that schools will get off. Hopefully that for those of you who have the day off, you can celebrate with some family, maybe celebrate the U.S. and Canadian holiday tomorrow. But for those of you who may not be off of work, it might also be used as an institute day, depending on what school district or state you are located in, but definitely celebrating the amazing people that continue to lead our country. As we head into some conversation, Brad, I'm not sure if you remember, but back in the day, a few weeks ago, we did a list of 40 things, and we started talking about these 40 things that not everything can be important. So as we read each of these things, we didn't get through all 40 because that would be crazy. As we read them, though, we started to talk about if this is something that's really important for you to consider or something that can't be that important because other things have to come before it. It was a really fun conversation. Do you have any reflection from that day?
Just how engaging it was and how difficult it was to prioritize among the priorities. I mean, 40 priorities. I think if you asked any educator from any faculty or any school, they would say, yeah, these are important things. But prioritizing among the priorities, especially when busy educators and busy school leaders have to really sift and sort to keep everyone's eye on the ball and keep everything moving forward.
Yeah, so for those of you that participated, we will ask you in the comments to participate with us because we're going to give each statement a ranking. It'll be 1 to 10. 10 means it's a very high priority, the highest priority. And then 1 would be that it's not important, but it can't be that important. It's not that important yet until you've done all the other things. And Brad, if you remember, we had a lot of 10s, and that's when I yelled at you. I'm like, some things have to be like a 9 or an 8 or a 7, because if everything's important, we have to remember, then nothing's important. So we have the administrator version of what we think our administrators should prioritize. And that is going to be an interesting conversation because I know people in the comments are both educators in the classroom and educators in leadership roles. So this will apply to a lot of people, and it will allow us to see the types of leaders we enjoy working with.
Also, it'll allow, teacher leaders among us, whoever you're watching live, or maybe you're listening later, that leadership is for everyone. It doesn't necessarily have to do with a position that you fulfill in your organization or district. It has to do with your approach to the work that you do. And I think anytime that you are making moves to inspire others or to help your work be more and more effective, to rally improvements to serve kids, I think that's leadership right there.
I love it. Before we get into this, though, I do want to just take a moment. February is a really hard month. I would love to celebrate. If any of you are willing to be a little vulnerable in the comments, I would love for you to tag 1 or 2 or 3 educators in your life who you truly see as leaders in your life. This could be department heads that you work with, mentors you work with, coaches you work with, administrators you work with, or just people that are huge advocates for educators. I know that there are so many titles, Brad, that you mentioned that have that leadership title, but there's also so many people down the hall that have that leadership role. This is a really nice way to celebrate them and give them a little boost that you're thinking of them. When we talk about good leaders, it always makes people feel good that, oh, someone was thinking about me with that, right, Brad? Like, not so just true. A feel-good moment.
It's so true. I mean, that it really is just such a boost and such an affirmation as educators when we know that we are making small or big moves that are inspiring or just influencing others. I mean, whether it's the influence that you have for someone down the hall, like you said, Ray, or someone else in your faculty, or maybe there's someone in your education life outside of your school that's making a difference to you. It could be an author, a podcaster. It could be someone who is helping you to learn and to be your best as well.
I love that. Yeah, it could be an author or podcaster, somebody that you consume content of. It could be someone on the Teach Better team. It could be that you asked a question in this Facebook group and somebody responded and helped you, maybe a Teach Better team ambassador or a member of our speakers network. So I really would encourage you to pop that in. I think we need more intentional moments to publicly show someone that they're a special part of our day, our lives, our routine. And this is really an opportunity for you to give someone a little smile in their day. So Brad, do you want to go back and forth like we did last time?
Yeah, of course. That sounds great.
Awesome. All right, we'll start with number one. As a reminder for those of you participating with us, we'd love to have you put your numbers in the comments as well. And this is ranked 1 through 10. 10 means it's the most important thing. 1 would be it's important, but not that important. First thing is the importance of clear communication channels within an organization. And this has to do with administration. Should administration make communication channels a priority? Brad, what are your thoughts?
That's a 10. It's absolutely a 10. I know you're going to get after me, but it's absolutely a 10. What I found, and maybe those watching and listening have experienced, is when there are communication gaps. Unfortunately, we tend to fill those gaps with suppositions. Sometimes it can go just to the worst case scenario, and then you're fighting a fire, trying to make sure that everyone has the correct information, and you're trying to quell emotions as well as clear up misinformation. Those communication channels are the lifeblood of any organization, especially educational organizations, and that I think the communication that we model amongst each other as educators is also the communication that we model for our kids that we serve.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, while I hate starting out with a 10, I agree. I think communication is key, regardless of the decisions being made. If you don't communicate, people seem to assume the worst. And the more communication really does build trust, even if they don't agree with what's being communicated. So I think that's a really important one. Brad, you want to read number 2 or you want me to jump in?
I'm good. Number 2, here it goes. The value of transparency in decision-making processes, Ray.
Okay.
The value of transparency.
Yeah, for administrators, I find this one to be very interesting because the more in through education I get, the more I realize that depending on the leadership title you have, there's a lot, and I want to emphasize, a lot of decisions that are not your own to make. And usually it's more of somebody higher up telling you that you need to communicate this. And with that being said, while it would be really nice to walk into a meeting and be like, it's not my fault this decision was made, Brad Hughes told me, it's kind of in your job description sometimes as a leader to back the bigger decision. And you may not have that background to say much more than that. So I'm going to say that this is like an 8. I think the more transparency, the better. But I also believe that you can be successful in leadership on occasion without so much transparency.
I agree. And that's where I'd put it too, Ray, is at an 8. It reminds me of the reason we tell kids the why behind the rules. We peel back the layers of decisions or organizational norms, not only because they have to be followed, but here's the why. And I think that is really key for school leaders to do as much as possible, is to peel back the layers about decisions or information that especially are coming from top down or from higher up in the organization to really help clarify and position us as educators within the rules and the rules and the obligations of our district. The other thing that I think is an important part of school leadership is to be that umbrella, be that shelter from information that really could be either distracting or disruptive to the educator's core purpose, which is to teach our kids. And so that's a key role of leadership. So sometimes the transparency may not be there or may not be evident because a school leader is trying to protect or shelter staff members, family members, and kids from distractions from their core work.
Such a good reminder, tough reminder of the admin job. It's really tough, but important reminder. Brad, you're going to hate number 3 because I'm guessing, and Brad, you know that I love and respect your opinion. I'm guessing we are going to be total opposite ends of this. So deep breaths. Necessary to maintain accurate and up-to-date records.
How up to date?
This says the necessity of maintaining accurate and up-to-date records. Where we fall in scale 1 to 10. 10 is it's essential for the job. You have to do it. Number 1 priority. 1 is it's important. It's important, but not the number 1 priority.
I'm going to say 9, and I think procedurally it's essential that school leaders and admin are keeping an eye on and maintaining those accurate and up-to-date records. It's the same that we expect of our educators, whether it's assessment data or social emotional data. That it has to be up to date, it has to be available. What are you're crinkling up your nose and you're thinking? I know you're thinking 3 or 4.
Here's my deal. I think there are some records that are so important. Like when you mentioned student data, like absolutely. But sometimes I find, and I think I fell into this for a few years of my career, over documenting is not always helpful. I find that there has to be a balance of documentation that exists. And when I say documentation, I'm really thinking of the notes I used to keep on my students' families and everything else. But I think for me, this is a 5 because there are a lot of things that are really important to keep up to date and a lot of things that probably you could step away from and it's not the end of the world.
There's a lot of data that educators are responsible to keep up to date. I think in my role, I think of record keeping around behavior or discipline decisions, infractions and misconducts, conversations that are contentious, either with a parent or caregiver or with his or her child. The importance of record keeping in those reasons or in those situations, right? Twofold for me is one is the personal accountability to the process. And so if you're seeking support in any of those processes, you have it documented what you said and did. And the other thing is, for me, writing is also part of reflection. And so by writing, I can separate myself a little bit from the emotions of a situation, and I can hopefully take sort of more clear and distant, or some distance between how I'm feeling about the situation and what I'm called to do. So that's why I'm gonna hold tight to my 9.
I think it's fair. And when you're talking about behavior, again, I'm with you. If it's talking about behavior, I'd say a 9 as well. But I just think there's so many other requirements we have as administrative leaders of things that if you didn't document it for a few weeks, it probably wouldn't be the end of the world. But anyway, all right. Are you reading the next one?
Number 4, the significance of following established protocols and procedures.
Okay, here's my argument. I was going to say that this is one I also am going to put in the middle, a 5. But I would argue that sometimes the protocols and procedures put in place don't need to be there. And other times you have to follow the protocols and procedures because, oh my gosh, then it would be pure chaos. But I guess as a teacher thinking about this, I'm like, I hate when there's a system that needs to be followed that doesn't have the same emergency need versus obviously if there was like a drill, I want everything followed to the T 100% because that needs a protocol for safety. I have no answer here. Someone help. Van Scott, post your number so I can steal it.
I think within any policies and procedures, the people who are called to uphold them and support them and make sure they are put into place, there also has to be a mechanism for feedback. Reminds me of a fire drill, for example. So if you have a fire escape plan and you run into a snag, then there needs to be a mechanism at the school level to give feedback and to refine it. Similarly, at the district level, school leaders and teachers, if you're required to put a procedure or a policy in place, I hope that there's a mechanism for feedback so that when there are feet on the ground that are, putting these things into operation, if there is a hitch, there's an opportunity to feed that back to your superintendent or your district leader to say, hey, I want to help you understand what this actually looks and feels like.
I'm going to take Van's option, which he said I should use 8, but I do like the comment above that says, again, which procedures, some legal ones, of course, but some other ones can be lame red tape. So I agree. But yes, I guess when it comes to procedures as an administrator, I would lean more towards a higher number for the sake of safety, which is an important element of being an admin leader. I get it.
For me, it comes down to integrity. So, when your actions and your beliefs match, that's integral, right? And so, as a school leader, or maybe even as a teacher leader who is doing some sort of semi-admin roles or some professional leads, we have to follow established procedures because that is communicating the desired practice that we expect and that we want to support in our reports too.
So, Brad, we could keep going with this, but I also searched up the same type of list. I said I want 40 things administrators really believe to be true. But then right before I searched that up, I said, could you make them funny? So yeah. I would like to now throw these back at you. I'm going to read the first few, and not so much if you believe in the importance of it, but I just want you to tell me if you believe this statement. Like, okay. Yes, I also believe that's true. Yep. Same in the comments. If I read a statement, I'd love for you to say, yeah, absolutely, I believe that, or no, that's complete no way. Are you ready, Brad?
Ready to go.
Admins believe that coffee is the ultimate productivity potion, even if it's just the placebo effect.
I used to believe that. I had a tradition at a previous school where I would put the coffee on each morning, and that aroma would bring everyone. Coffee aroma brings everybody to the staff room. But at my latest school, it's a tea culture I discovered, and so I'm no longer putting the coffee on, but the kettle goes on too. So I'm a big believer in coffee, but I'm also a big believer in bringing people together. So whether it's coffee, tea, water, whatever it is, you've got me right there. I believe that.
I love it. Here we go. Admin firmly believe that the printer's sole purpose is to eat paper and stress people out.
I don't believe that. I believe the opposite. I want the printer to work, and I've had my hands and arms elbow deep trying to unjam paper and change the toner myself. So we're grateful. We've got a lot of really great service technicians that can help, but I do not believe that. No, I think printer should work.
Okay, there we go. Admins and leaders believe that the reply all button was designed by a sarcastic genius.
Probably true.
It's true. Leadership believe that the IT department is run by wizards who only speak in binary inclinations.
I do not believe that to be true in my experience. What do you think?
I think that IT members are for sure wizards. That's without a doubt. I always call a good IT guy for help. So that's true. Leaders are convinced that the only thing more mysterious than the Bermuda Triangle is the budget of the building.
It's complex. It's mysterious, and you can inherit a budget that was inherited by someone else, has been inherited by someone else, and it just untangling the budget is pretty mysterious. I'm going to say I agree with that.
All right, here's one that will be interesting. Leadership firmly believes that a brainstorm session is just another term for group procrastination.
In the wrong hands for sure. I don't believe that to be true, though.
Okay, that's fair. Leadership think that the only thing more, let me hold on really quick. Admin is convinced that the true purpose of conference calls is to test your ability to multitask.
I think anyone that's experienced a conference call or a Google Meet or a Zoom, I mean, there's so many distractions going on around you. I know sometimes I feel like I'm trying to pilot a space shuttle at the same time trying to keep up with a Zoom call.
This is my favorite one. So we're going to end on this one. This says, leadership is certain that the office microwave has a built-in timer that is always set to permanently burn.
I believe that to be true. And I don't think any of the office microwave buttons do what they're supposed to do. I think it's just you're just playing a very dangerous game of roulette every time you touch that microwave.
This is so fun, Brad. I'm glad we were able to go through this list again. And thank you so much for the comments, hearing your thoughts, seeing some giggles. We'll be right back for our Sunday Spark. Even though this has been such a fun show, starting out with ways that we fill our time with hobbies, evolving into leadership, funny anecdotes, this is still my favorite part of the show. We're getting into our Sunday Spark, created by the one and only Brad Hughes. That commercial was so good. And this segment is all about positive things for us to consider. Brad, what do you got for us this week?
Ray, I've got a website and an app that I'd like to recommend to our Teach Better family, and it's called Goodable. You and I are pretty committed each and every week to bringing good news, inspiring news, something that will spark conversation, something that will spark imagination. So I want to introduce you to Goodable. And Ray, we experimented, I think it was the week with Joshua Stamper and I were co-hosting about having our viewers choose the good news story of the day. So I'm curious to see if any of these spark your interest. Will you let me know?
Please, I love this.
Okay, how about the first wooden satellite to combat space pollution?
Oh,
European Tree of the Year awards? Oh, a new animal species, the skeleton panda sea squirt.
oh, I saw that one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
That's so cool.
Adorable baby rhino turns into a puppy while being brushed. Tiny moon of Saturn reveals a new surprise. And an artist keeping an endangered craft alive. Any of those spark your interest?
Okay, first off, I feel like they kept getting better. I'm interested in every single one you said. But can I go with the Saturn moon? Because I've been practicing a planet speech with a little girl recently who is playing Pluto in an upcoming play at an elementary school. And she has this witty one-liner about like, I've been demoted. I'm not really a planet. So now I want to know about Saturn.
This tiny moon of Saturn is the smallest case of a subsurface ocean ever found in the solar system, Ray. These kind of discoveries just boggle my mind because of the distance at which the scientists are making these discoveries and decisions. But as you can see on the screen there, this comes from goodnewsnetwork.org. And it's been known for a decade that Saturn's icy moon of Enceladus,
Sure,
almost certainly includes a subsurface ocean beneath its northern pole. The tiny moon called Mimas also may contain the same. And the search for water and the search for maybe the main ingredients of life outside of Earth, depends on finding water, frozen water, water vapor, giving us some different ideas about how life in our solar system may have either existed or how life on Earth may have come to be. What I love about Goodable, Ray, is any of those 6 stories will take you into a little bit of clicking on any of the stories will take you into a more in-depth look at the story, and you can get it on your desktop or it can come to you through the Goodable app. And it might be a great bell ringer activity for you and your class. It might be something if you're a school leader that you are sharing in a school newsletter or on a school email. There's just all kinds of ways to recognize that good news is happening and discoveries and things are moving forward in positive ways. I think as something that is counter to the dire news that we often turn on to, whether it's on TV, radio, or other media. But, sharing the good where you can is, I think it's essential for our well-being and for our community's well-being too, Ray.
I love it. I love some good news, Brad Hughes. So this was definitely a good one. I'm excited for you all to share how you are using that incredible app as an opportunity to engage your family, friends, and students. Brad, thanks for so much. This conversation was so enjoyable. I really, really love our Sunday nights talking with you. It's so casual. We get to do some goofy stuff. I love the engagements on Sunday. This is just my favorite. This is my favorite. And I so appreciate that we get to do this together. Friends, as a reminder, next week we have a guest joining us. And then the following week, we have a beautiful person joining us, a part of our Teach Better team, and it will be right after our 12-hour live. So in case you missed it, March 2nd, we are going to have a 12-hour live event streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn. Holy moly, it's 12 hours of free PD. You don't have to register. You just have to follow the team on your favorite platform, and you'll be able to catch it. It's going to be so much fun. So I assume that following Sunday is going to be focused on relaxing and also recapping that incredible conversation. Brad, thanks so much again for tonight. It was great.
Ray, thank you. And thanks to everyone in our Teach Better Family Network for joining us. We love live and we love connecting with you every Sunday night here in the weekly warm-up space. Make sure you're staying tuned tomorrow morning. We've got Teach Better today with Ray and a co-host to be named later. But Ray Hewitt, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7. And thanks again. I love our Sunday nights together.
So fun. Hey, friends, if you have just like a millisecond of time tomorrow afternoon, this stream will stream on all of our platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn this time tomorrow. We would love to have you share out this stream and encourage your friends and family to join the Teach Better group, the Teach Better Facebook group here on Facebook. So just so we can continue to support different educators and leaders. So have a wonderful day, friends. We will see you soon.